To do when I was a baby, 17 years old. I crossed my mother and father and I went to join the Army. I joined by going to the draft board and saying I'm 18. Can you hear me?
No.
Hold it to your mouth.
Testing?
Okay.
Yes.
Unaccustomed as I am to public speaking. Anyway, I got into the Army very early and broke her mother's heart. She had one son in Guadalcanal, which was a terrible battle. It was in the newspapers every day. When I got overseas, after basic training, when I got overseas, they made me a machine gunner on a 50 caliber machine gun. I never saw one before in my life, but you learn quick. It was a combat area. Their machine gunner had been hurt. They needed a new machine gunner, and I was it. You grow up fast. When we entered Dachau, I had no idea that's where we were. I had no idea because we went to first Nuremberg, all the towns that we read about in the papers. But when we got into Dachau, we thought it was another town. You have all heard about how we fought our way into Dachau. That's not true. Dachau surrendered. I saw the German officers turn it over to the American officers. I was pulled into the camp because my captain, who I spoke Yiddish, disease was rampant in Dachau. The population, that is our beloved Jews, had to be kept where they were. And I was told to tell them, "Sorg sich nicht, don't worry. Ich bin ein amerikanischer Soldat, I'm an American soldier, ich bin ein Yiddischer boy." Would you believe that I didn't remember this for 50 years? A friend of mine wrote a book. He was in my outfit. And in the book, I wish we had more time, but in the book it says, for 50 years I didn't remember this. I had to call him immediately. I gave one of the copies of the book to your library. For 50 years, it was just too much. Why do I speak? I have to jump from spot to spot on this. Why do I stand here talking, and I'll talk wherever I'm wanted? I stood in a room of dead people. I walked on floors where you had to watch your feet because you step on somebody. I don't remember odors because the sense, my sight took over all my other sensory factors. I couldn't believe what I was looking at, but I saw it. When you are in a room of dead people, they talk to you, they look at you, and they scream at you. And what they screamed at me that I'll never forget is, "Zug Alleman, muss Alleman zugen." You have to tell everybody. Anybody here that's a survivor that's in this room will understand what I'm saying. Everybody felt that the world had forgotten them. They did. And so I'm very fulfilled when I can come and speak of it. There's a lot to say, but one of the things that I want to tell you now, because it's a little dramatic. When we got to the ovens, there was a big schreierei. Hey, the ovens, the ovens. I didn't know what they were. When we got there and I began to understand, see, I was a Yiddish interpreter. I spoke to the prisoners. I spoke to those survivors that were there. My officers couldn't, so I got into some conversations. In one conversation, at the ovens, where I reached down to pick up a handful of ashes and I had to wonder to myself, who am I holding? How many? How long are they laying here with nobody caring? That's some experience. You got the ashes in your hand. The man who put the bodies into the oven was pleading for his life to a bunch of American officers who didn't understand him. I was translating it to him. He was saying, I hurt nobody. I put dead people into the oven. It was an opportunity for me to live. And he reached under his arm and he took this out, which was on a string hanging from her shoulder. It's a little silver Kiddush cup. And he said, I made a levaya for every soul that I put into that fire. I made a levaya. I did the best I could. How I ended up with this, I don't know. It was mayhem there. And I have the cup. I don't know how many in Borough Park they want this because they say it contains the souls of so many Jews. You have to be very religious to believe that. I also want to tell you that when I speak to people and I hear the kids talk, you say Holocaust and they say, oh yeah, 6 million. That's what it's been reduced to. Oh yeah, 6 million. They don't even say 6 million people. It's like on Pesach when we say next year, when we say once we were slaves in Egypt and now we're free people. Everybody in this room has heard it or has said it, but nobody feels it anymore because, you know, let's eat. It's a sacred. You want to get to the food. I don't want that to happen to the Holocaust. I don't want, in my lifetime, the people I meet to say 6 million and not feel it anymore. I want to put some feeling into it. I also want to tell you one of the least recorded stories that's there. I don't read much about the Holocaust because I don't want it to change my memory. I don't want a false memory to get involved. But when they said, when I was in the camp, I heard everybody saying, northeast end of the camp. See, the night before we went in, we heard machine gun fire. I was a machine gunner. So I understood the caliber of weapon that was being fired. I knew that there's 30 caliber machine guns, and it wasn't coming from us. I found out where it came from. The Germans had 36 boxcars of human beings, Jews, that had been locked in the boxcars, we learned, for 2 weeks. No food, no toilet, no exit. We got there, those boxcars were being opened, and we were taking Jews out, and they were dead. They had been machine guns. That's the fire we heard the night before. That's what the Holocaust was. It was guys like me trying to find somebody alive who had been stuck in those boxcars. It's not pleasant, but that's what it was, and that's what you should know about the Holocaust. It was just beyond your belief. What stands out most, there's a lot of stuff that stands out most. I brought you for later on, this I took from Burgess Garden. It's a dish that was on Hitler's table. This verifies that this is from Burgess Garden.
Can you just explain for the audience what
Huh?
not everyone might know.
Burgess Garden was Hitler's home. I had promised my mother, you know, she wanted me to go into it. I said, don't worry, Ma, you know, I'll bring you back a teacup from Hitler's table. This was the best I could do. I put my helmet on it, and walking out, I said to these soldiers who were in charge of the camp, the 101st Infantry, I put my helmet on this, and I said to the soldier, okay, thanks a million, and I walked out with it. I was able to keep my word for Mom. This is very painful. swastika with a shovel and wheat. You'll be able to see, I'll hold it up. All right? Like a farming implement. Every farmer should have one. This is people who are lined up and going into the showers. I want to tell you, I still don't know whether Dachau gassed them. I don't know, but I read a lot of stuff that says yes. But we didn't know anything about gas, by the way. This was when the camp was first opened, and Dachau was one of the earliest. But the man who I met, who carried this on his belt, took great pleasure in slicing people's shoulders and women's breasts with this. That's what their brave, brave soldiers did. American soldiers reacted unbelievably. We were tough. And we weren't tough when we went in. We were tough when we saw what we saw. The man who held this, I was able to say to him, "Was hast du aufgetan? What did you do?" And he said to me, just like I'm saying it to you, "Aus Juden." They're all Jews. Why should I worry about it? I want to maintain. It's endless, but there is a time restriction. Judy?
No, you're fine.
Keep going.
Show us the artifacts.
Well, that's what I wanted to show you, that you could see from there. The rest of the things,
What if we open to questions, for a couple questions?
well,
We'll take some questions from the audience.
anytime. I brought this in because I took these out of a music school. They're beautiful, beautiful piano pieces. But Nazi Germany, this book was registered. It's permissible to use it. Here's the stamp from the school. It says, "Okay, you can play this by whoever this was." When I taught school, which I did in my 60s and 70s, after the garment center, when I closed my business, I took out a teaching license and I had the pleasure of teaching kids in Brooklyn. When I told them that America loved World War II, they were mad at me. They knew about the Vietnam War, which we did not love, and our hearts broke because people got hurt. I told them they knew about the Korean War, but World War II was ancient history to them. And they wanted to know, how could we love World War II? We loved it because it corrected something. We loved it because we knew we were right. I'm not making a political speech here. I want to stop that. But to prove that we loved it, 50 years later, the New York Times was selling songs about World War II. We danced to it. Those of you who were around, remember, we danced to it. We hummed it. It was our music. Here's a buckle that every German soldier wore. I'm talking about the field soldier, the Wehrmacht. The buckle says, "God is with us." Believe it? I collected this. I had this in my pocket with a few other things, and I remembered when we reached Dachau, God was with us. When I got into the camp, there was, I don't know how it happened. I don't remember my experience linearly, like I did this, and then I did this, and then I did this. When I went into the camp, I found myself standing face to face with a little old lady. Maybe she wasn't so old. I don't know how long she had been in the camp. And when I saw her, and I said, Mama, ich bin ein amerikanischer Soldat. Ich bin a Yiddish boy. I'm an American soldier, a Jewish boy. And I went to pat her head. She ducked from me. Made me cry. What's left of her? She should duck from me that she didn't hear what I said. I'll never forget her. I'll never forget that face, neither would you. But those people, those survivors were hurt, and they must be given all the latitude in the world when we live with them. And we gotta love them especially because they did things that we didn't know. Judy, I'm feeling very uncomfortable about time, so.
Why don't we go to Q&A now?
What?
Q&A. Any questions now?
Yes, if you have any questions.
Stanley, did you have, were the soldiers given any indication of what to expect when you entered Dachau?
No, nothing. I don't know what the others had. I had no idea what it was. I was standing outside the camp. Firstly, I was with my friends in Munich when a Jeep pulled up and said to me, Kaplan, in the car, Colonel wants you. For a colonel to want me, who the hell am I? A colonel, it took me 7 months to make private. And now a colonel wants me. I hopped in a Jeep, and when I got there, it was the first I saw of Dachau. I didn't know what it was.
So there was no indication whatsoever about the
When I
extermination camps?
got there, they took me out of the Jeep, and I stood there with my fellow soldiers. We were not yet allowed in. A tremendous amount of guys hanging around, and something of a line, this squad here, this group here. And I could see inside the German officers and generals. You can tell the general they had a red stripe down their pants. There were very high-ranking German officers and top-ranking American officers. I did not see a general. They were standing in there, and then they got further from us, and somebody said, come on in. And we came in. I saw bodies. When I walked into that little anti-garden, I saw bodies stacked. Somebody said to me, how high is that? I went over, I reached up, and I figured that's 7 feet. I said, about 7 feet, sir. 7 feet, 6 in my head. Human beings stacked like stuff out of Korean rice bags. At the bottom of the pile, which had begun to slide down, was a full-dressed German officer, dead. I couldn't stand him lying on my shoes. And I broke my line, and I walked over and pulled him off. That's some change that happens. Who am I to...
Quick follow-up. Was Dachau one of the camps where they made the local townspeople come and view what occurred?
I don't know. I don't know. My memory after I left is gone. I've looked this list here. I got a lot of stuff back.
Thank you.
Yes, please.
First of all, thank you very, very much for doing what you did and sharing it with us. Very, very cool. My question is, when the Germans said they're all Jews, how did you respond? How did the other people respond?
An unarmed enemy soldier has to be protected by his captors. Killing an unarmed enemy soldier is a war crime. There was no statute of limitation on war crimes. In the event that somebody said to you, I killed him, then he would be opening himself up for prosecution as a war criminal. There was a lot of it going on. The American soldiers did a lot of shooting, and there was a lot of firefights in Dachau. where the American soldiers tried to line up the Nazi handlers of the Jews, and they were armed, some of them, and they fought back in the camp. There was a lot of fire. When you're in combat, the guys here who will be, and you hear cannon fire and other stuff, it's lousy, but you don't feel it very personal. When you hear small arm fire, you got the feeling that they're not coming for you. So it was not just like we walked in and everybody turned it over.
Yes, please.
I have a question. In the United States of America, did any of the people before this happened have any inkling of what was going on in Germany? And also, do you think that Roosevelt knew?
We all knew what was going on. I was there.
So I'm saying before that,
No, I was a kid on the street before that.
right?
And just as a very young boy, we heard the word concentration camps. We heard the word labor camps. All right, we knew what was happening. There were German, I remember one day I was in a house and I heard my mother and father crying with a man. He was a full of brush salesman, and he was one-time elegance dressed. You could see that he had a very elegant coat and an elegant fur cap, but it was a little warm by now. And they were crying. He was telling my family, my mother and father, what was happening in Germany. We knew.
The extent of it?
Huh?
They knew the extent of what was going on in the concentration camp?
I don't know the extent myself, and I was there. But
I'm just saying, for the torture.
But they knew it was terrible. The Jewish theater was already telling stories like it can't happen here. I went to the Jewish theater with my parents and I heard this stuff.
Articles were in the New York Times as early as late 1941, 1942.
But did you think, if people knew, then Roosevelt must have known. Why didn't they?
I'm not going to go with Roosevelt. I want to avoid the political stuff.
I have actually two questions. The first one is, every liberator I spoke about the terrible odor that they got from the camp. Some of them said they smelled them 5 miles away, but they didn't know the source. And the second one is, none of them ever told me that they were given advice how to handle the situation once they came to the camp. Was this the same case in your case?
Well, I was close to my officers because I was able to speak to the Jews. I spoke Yiddish, and they knew it because before we got to the camp, when we were going from town to town, the way we got our housing that night, before I got to my outfit, guys would walk in and say, how many beds you got? How many beds? We want our soldiers to sleep here. What the hell, we going to sleep here? Germans didn't understand them. We didn't understand the Germans. When I got there, I was able to say to them, wie viel Betten haben Sie? How many beds have you got? And they say 7. I say 7 American Soldaten durchschlagen. That was it. So they knew I spoke Yiddish. I got a little closer than most guys would.
No, what I meant is how to handle the situation when you came into the camp. You had people who were diseased, who wanted to escape, who had to be fed, who had to be healed.
You're right, I never got any instruction.
None.
Or the only instruction I remember was somebody screaming, don't give them chocolate, don't feed them. Because they would drop dead. Chocolate would kill them.
I have 2 questions. I want you to answer my question directly, but I'm going to intentionally. Number 1, was the experience of the Gentile soldiers the same as your experience? How did the Gentile soldiers feel about this?
I'm sorry.
How did the Gentile soldiers feel about going to the camp and seeing
Well,
these Jews?
that's a beautiful one. I had an anti-Semitic cook. If I was ever alone with him, where one shot wouldn't be identified. When I walked up with my pan, you had to stand like a beggar to get your food. Oh, look who's here. Oh, A.B., look what I got for you, a little roast beef. And he put the pork chop on my plate. Well, I ate what I could get. But that sneering stuff. I would really have loved to see him, disappear from this earth. But in the camp, he took out 2 Jewish boys, 14 years old each. Crying, he was crying like a baby. The boys were limp, they had bed sores all over him. You couldn't get those boys away from Sergeant Zazlewski. He kept them with him in the camp. He demanded that Danny, who was the medic, come and visit them regularly. He brought doctors for them. And those boys were sent by boat out of the camp with a basket full of money. Everybody threw money in the basket for them. One of them became Chaim Zohar. He changed his name, and he is now, or he had been a man in Israeli politics. When I went to visit him, and by the way, I got close to him because he only spoke Polish and Yiddish. So when I got to him and we spoke Yiddish together, I was able to, when Zazlewski would say to me, come on down, I need somebody with that Jew talk. I began to understand that anti-Semitism is sometimes just a style, and it could be different. I don't understand what the hell it is, but the American soldier saw who killed Jews, and they knew they were Jews, and they retaliated beyond your belief. I saw American soldiers machine gunning German handlers of those bodies. They went nuts. And they weren't Jewish. I hope that answers your question. There was a degree that was passed where it was no longer Jews, it was humans. Huh?
They have to leave.
Okay, good.
One more question?
If there are any survivors in here, of course.
If I could ask all the veterans to stand so that we can show you our respect also. Veterans, if you could please stand.